Mackenzie, Simon Dingley from CBC News. A bit of a curved question at you. How much have you noticed the smoke out there from the forest fires that have come in from Quebec?
I have. I was at an outing yesterday with RBC, and we were in Milton, and I honestly hadn't heard of the forest fires, to be quite honest. And we were out there yesterday, and it was extremely hazy, very smoky, and I couldn't stop talking about it. I was amazed. I guess how far it has traveled in the smoke that we're experiencing here. So, yeah, it's not great, and obviously I'm thinking about the people that are affected by that. So, hopefully they can get those under control.
Do you have to do anything to make sure it doesn't impact your game at all?
I mean, honestly, I probably shouldn't be outside for 8 hours straight, but that's that's going to be tough this week. So, no, it doesn't really affect our game at all. Just, yeah, probably trying to drink lots of water, and I probably should be wearing sunglasses a bit more. But other than that, not too much.
Thank you.
We'll go over here on the left.
Mac, yesterday's news, I'm wondering how much that's distracting you from your preparation and how much it might take away any of your focus from what's an extremely important week.
Yeah, there's no doubt the timing of it was less than ideal, back-to-back years. That was discussed yesterday. And from the sounds of it, it was something that Jay thought about and couldn't avoid. So it does distract you. I mean, I'm answering a question now about something that's not really pertaining to this week or this championship, but again, I think that there is a lot to be unpacked still, and everything is very, very fresh. And so I think everyone's coming to terms with a bit more what's going on. The word merger has been tossed around a lot, which this isn't a merger. It's much different than that. So it is a bit of a distraction, but once we get through today and we get going tomorrow, I think that the focus will be on the RBC Canadian Open, and that's where it should be.
Just as a follow-up, how would you describe how your emotions have evolved from yesterday morning around 10 o'clock to today?
I started out feeling a little frustrated, a little confused, and betrayed, not betrayed, but just blindsided with the fact that we just, to us, we didn't see this coming in any capacity. Maybe not for another 5 or 6 years, but now we're here, and this is the news that we're dealing with. And yeah, I'd say that now I'm more about collecting information and trying to, I guess, make my own judgments on what the situation is and if it's going to be good for the tour in the long run, which ultimately I do think that the way the golf has been the last year is not good for the game. And I do believe that when the dust does settle and we bring the guys back together eventually, I do think that's what's in the best interest of golf. Right now, it obviously is going to feel different or feel not right or confusing, and everyone's got a lot of questions. But I do think that with time, you know, this could end up being a great thing. I think people are very quick to jump on it being a really bad thing, but it's too early to say, I guess, one way or the other.
Over here on the right.
Hey, Mac. This year in golf's been a lot about there's no-cut events, there's team golf on the LIV side. How important is a tournament, obviously, like this to you and a true Open Championship, and what does that mean for the kind of golf you grew up with?
I was telling my caddy out there today that I've been coming to this tournament from a very young age, before I was 10 probably, and my first experience, I think, was Glen Abbey in 2000, and just a lot of great memories from, Glen Abbey and from Hamilton, and to be competing in my national championship, the RBC Canadian Open. And to me, it's still a little bit of a pinch me moment, even though I'm in year 7 and I've played in a fair number of these already. It's still really cool to me that I could impact the next Mackenzie Hughes, which hopefully they aim higher than that. But I mean, at least, that's where the bar has been set maybe. But it is neat. And I relish these moments to be here, vying for this championship. And I would love more than anything else to be the guy to break that drought.
And one more, going back to yesterday, have you had a chance to sort of weigh the positives from what you can think they might be and some of the negatives? I mean, you're welcoming the players back from LIV, can't necessarily be comfortable, but maybe there's more security in the tour and potential for, I don't know, like super elevated events or something. Have you had a chance to weigh the pros and cons of what you know yet?
To be honest, not really. Yesterday was a bit of a whirlwind, and like I said, I was just trying to collect as much information as possible. And then I really have tried to shift my focus today into this tournament. I've been looking forward to it for months now, and my focus is there. And I want to have a great week and be focused on what I'm trying to do here. So that stuff will work itself out in time. But for me right now, the focus is tomorrow's first tee shot.
Over here on the left.
Matt, given the timing of last year as well as this year relative to LIV, you have some sympathy for that badge on your left sleeve there, RBC?
Yeah, it's not, doesn't seem fair. It is probably the best way to put it, but just really unfortunate timing, I think. But yeah, they've gotten the bad end of that stick the last couple of years, and it's a shame because it takes away from I believe it's the third oldest national Open or third. So to me, that's what it should be about, is the history of this tournament and the great players here. But golf has never been in a place like this before, and there's been so many things in the last 3-4 years that have just disrupted I guess the working order of golf. I mean, from COVID into LIV, it's just been a very unsettled time for golf. Golf ball rollback potentially. Just, it seems like day after day there's something new. So I think if I'm RBC, I kind of accept that this is just the rolling landscape of what we're dealing with. And hopefully, like I said, tomorrow, once we get going, the tournament starts and we got a good leaderboard going, that'll be the focus of this week.
Over here on the right.
Hey, Mac. We've seen this happen before with Canadian guys too, that you can win and, you not only do you win, you get the exemption, you get a lot of money, a few more demands on your time. Is it, in a weird sort of way, is it a little harder to focus after?
Yes and no. I think your points are all valid, that, when you win, there's definitely more demand for your time. You're more sought after, but those are things that we're used to and used to dealing with. So I think like myself or Corey or Adam would be used to dealing with those things and can expect those things. So I wouldn't use that as a cover up or an excuse for any play that I didn't like or bad results. It's just golf's a hard game, and your season, no matter how good it is, runs in ebbs and flows. So I think that, like I said, that's part of it that comes along with winning, but something that we expect and know how to deal with.
Over here, back left.
Yeah, hey, back to yesterday, one more. the players' call with Jay yesterday. Can you sort of describe how it went for you, or sort of the sentiment that came out of it, and the feelings around that call that you had or that you sensed other people had?
The pack meeting or the player meeting?
The player meeting.
The player meeting. I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, but I just feel as though the first feeling that guys had was just that they were a little bit shocked by the news. I don't really think many people had this on their radar as a possibility. So that was probably the first emotion. And then the other thing was just now guys were trying to take it all in, gather information, ask questions, figure out what the next steps were. So there was a lot of good discussion in there yesterday, and a lot of things on both sides that were said that I think will lead to, good decisions going forward. So, yeah, like I said, golf has just never been disrupted like this before, and we're dealing with a lot of stuff right now. So I think once we get kind of past the initial phase of this, or the initial part of this, like I said, it could be a great thing for golf. We just we don't know. So that was kind of the majority of the emotion or the feeling yesterday.
I guess is there any sense of like the emotional whiplash at all? Sort of like, you go a year and this is how, we look at things, and then all of a sudden one day happens and it's like, oh, we have to look at it this other way. Is that sort of hard to wrap your head around at all?
Yes and no. I mean, we've been through a lot. So while there's some aspects of it that may surprise you, you're also kind of used to having bombshells dropped every now and then, with LIV forming and having their first events, and then to where we are now. There's been lots of big news over the last year. So I don't think that we're essentially, I guess you just know you're in a bit of a chaotic time. So there's lots of stuff happening, and we're just trying to deal with it the best we can on the fly.
We got time for a few more. We're going to go back right.
Hey, Mac, over here. Obviously, you talk a lot about how important the National Open is for you. We've got the U.S. Open coming up after that, but then a little more than a year from now, President's Cup. It's going to be here, not in Toronto, but in Canada. Just how much is that front of mind for you? We always hear about it from Americans and Europeans of Ryder Cup teams and how important that is to them. With a Canadian captain and it being Canada, does that add any more motivation, and do you need any more?
I would probably trade both wins to be on that team. I really want to be on that team for Mike. I want to play for him. I want to play in front of Canadian fans. I'd like to win the President's Cup. Those are all things I do think about. And yeah, I don't need any extra motivation, I guess. I think about it often. I see the President's Cup logo on some people's shirts in here, and you see the President's Cup shield for the international team floating around. So I see Ryan Hart in the back, so hopefully I'll be seeing a lot of him next year. So yeah, I'm dying to be on that team. So I was obviously close in Charlotte, and that would have been a semi-home game for me there too. So that stung. So that was probably my extra motivation that I needed, and I'll do everything I can to be on that team next year.
Okay, 2 last questions over here.
Mac, I know you don't have a lot of experience on this golf course, but you've seen it now, most of it, I guess. What will be the most important thing for you or anybody to do to be successful out there this week?
If you drive it really well this week, you'll have a great week. That to me, it almost goes hand in hand with all the courses that we play that are lined with thick rough and kind of smaller screens. You just need to be playing from the fairway to score. So to me, that's the number one skill, or like what the champion will do best, I think, to me, is he'll separate himself off the tee and give himself tons of looks into these greens from the fairway. So, yeah, I think closely behind that, though, will be, like that guy that drives it great is still going to need to putt exceptional because of the amount of slope on these greens. So it'll require that person to putt great, have a great imagination around the greens, because you can leave yourself in spots where you've got putts with 10 feet of break. So those putts require a lot of touch and imagination and feel. So that's probably secondary to the driving, but I would say first and foremost, drive the ball in the fairway and you have a chance.
You're a guy who's been known to make some long and winding putts, so you think that gives you some advantage?
Yeah, Stanley Thompson designs and greens with a lot of pitch for me are kind of what I grew up on, and I'm quite comfortable. I was out in the Pro-Am today. I had a great group of guys, and they'd ask me, what does this putt do? And, is it like, 4 or 5 feet? And I'm like, just add an extra few feet and you're good. A lot of these putts that are breaking a ton, you can't play high enough, and you're trying to just kind of marry that line speed and get that highest possible line. And that to me is really fun. I almost would prefer a putt that breaks 4 or 5 feet than a putt that's 30 feet and dead straight. Just the way my mind works. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to hopefully rolling in a few of those for the crowd this week.
Hey, Mac. You already alluded to the drought of a Canadian not winning this championship in nearly 70 years. What would it mean to you personally to be the one to break that drought?
Yeah, that'd be amazing. To be the guy, obviously be a bit of a Canadian hero to do that. And I picture coming down those last few holes and the way the crowd to be loud, and the energy behind me would be incredible. So I have let myself get to that point and think about those things. Like I said, it'd be amazing. Yeah, I know every one of the guys in the field this week feel the same way, that they want to be that guy. So yeah, if it's not me, I hope it's one of them. But I'll be trying to be that guy.